Hello and welcome to the EAVI Conversations podcast, where we explore a wide range of topics with inspiring and thoughtful guests. Thanks for joining us. Let's dive in. Meet Paolo Celot, who is the founder of the European Association for Viewers' Interests. EAVI is one of the longest-standing organizations working on media literacy and citizenship at a European level. With a degree in economics from the University of Pisa and over 25 years of experience, Paolo has worked in London, Milan and Brussels, advising broadcasters such as BBC and RAI and collaborating with international institutions like the Council of Europe, the European Commission and UNESCO. He has led EU-wide research on media and citizenship and has spoken at over 100 events in more than 30 different countries about these subjects. In this episode, we explore how our everyday devices are tied to power, profit, and control, and what that means for citizens today. We began our conversation by discussing the Trump administration's decision to exempt phones from the reciprocal tariffs. Let's listen to Paolo's thoughts.
Well, if people were worried that to buy an iPhone would have been more expensive, this is not going to happen apparently because the Trump administration decided to exclude his telephones from this trade war of tariffs with China and Europe and the rest of the world. And this is not a surprise because this is the way in which the power somehow, and that power for sure, because it's most of these we are talking about big corporate are based in the USA, and they do use these telephones as tracking devices and what has been named as surveillance capitalism. Therefore, they do get our data for free, and obviously they do use it in a way that they make a lot of money out of it. And this is it applies also to the services that we get from those telephones, the social media, the video games, the news that were so great a few years ago to receive for free, and it was a fantastic service. And we were thinking that this technology was on our side. How wrong we were, because it's now we do discover that instead we have to protect ourselves sometime. We have to from our own telephone, because it's a kind of spy that we have in our pocket. They know where we are. They know what we like. They know is how to influence our emotions, and this is why I think that I'm not surprised that they want to be sure that we will continue to buy and use the telephones that we have now in our pockets.
Then we asked Paolo who the people are that are actually benefiting from this.
Who is benefit? I think is very important point of reflection is when we talk about raising awareness or media literacy in a broader sense. We should ask ourselves whether we do benefit from these policies of Trump. If is what we are talking about now, do American citizens benefit from what Trump is doing to them? It doesn't seem so. Is do the same way that did the British benefit from Brexit? There were big and high promises in which it was said that economy in UK would have been better, but the results after a few years is that the economy in England has shrunk, reduced, is 15% less of imports and exports, and GPD has decreased 5% as well. So what did he do for English or for Americans? The same way, obviously, is not a democracy. Do Russian people benefit from the war against Ukraine, and the other way around? One point that I think is good to retain is that all of this is against us. We all seem to suffer. It's against people, it's against journalism, it's against students, it's against teachers. Is the only one that benefit, if this is the question, are these very few people that are in power.
Then we talked about the fact that the vast majority of citizens have a phone that they use every single day, and how unsettling it can be to realize just how much power these devices and those behind them can have on our lives. So we asked Paolo what we can actually do about it.
We do speak with many people, including young people at EAVI, and we found that they do have. They do feel more alone. News are depressing. They feel a bit paralyzed or even having difficulties in imagining their future or hopes. They look like being a bit in trance or confused, to say the very least. And this kind of fear that scared them is very understandable. The environment is doing badly, the education is doing badly. In the trend, more importantly, they seem to go worse and worse. So I think that one way is the very first step is indeed to be aware that this is a way to scare us. Is the result is what they are achieving. So we don't have any citizenship, any plan, any resistance somehow, but he will go. And after that, I think that people will have to. All of us, we have to think in a much more positive terms about reigniting hope and using this great technology for us. So imagining ways to improve society, to improve our happiness, to get richer, if you want, is to really to have to improve our well-being. That is what people care about. They don't really they shouldn't care about making even richer the people that have already so much money.
And finally, we asked Paolo what needs to happen on a global, national, or even personal level to face all of these challenges.
Yeah, we are all interconnected. We live in a global market. People are interconnected. Communication is interconnected, and therefore and the environment, the natural environment, and the digital environment is interconnected. And it is important, I think, that Europe that is one of the enemy of these authoritarian guys, whether it's Russia or the Trump administration or others, does continue in the way that we have done for the last 70 years of peace, meaning we do need rules, obviously good rules. We do need international organization, not just the European Union, but the Council of Europe and all other international organizations where it means to contribute to peace. And peace must remain a very high value in everything that we'll do. I'm personally against the rearm of Europe. But I very much think that Europe is the only hope, or one of the few hopes that we have nowadays to ensure the well-being of citizens. So let's invest on citizens, which is the only asset that we have available. Let's invest in Europe, the good part of it. Obviously, there are parts that should be improved, but it's not a reason to say that Europe is the problem. Populism is the problem. Nationalism is the problem, and this has been demonstrated. Well, we need to have more awareness. And more knowledge, more information, more wisdom, and it is clear that we are under attack from that point of view. So, to me, it's very clear who is the enemy and who are the allies, and Europe and people are our allies. While on the other side, in the end, there are only a very few very powerful people, but as history has demonstrated, eventually is citizens will prevail. But I'm afraid it could take some time, and it's not. It's a battle is a battle, and I think that the consequences of these bad actors on humankind, I would say, there could be a disaster. So that's one more reason is to have a wake-up call from whoever has the privilege of being able to get this wake-up call. It's not for everyone, but those that understand and listen. I think that it is important to find the middle way in between utopia and being realistic. Kind of a realistic utopia is we have to be aware that we have human features that we should develop, or life skills, and starting from being capable of listening to others and questioning ourselves, even is humans are social animals, and we only exist in relation to each other. And therefore, to come to a bit more concrete suggestions about what we could find, I would say that one is to find ways to communicate each other, is to prove empathy, to understand and to listen what others doing in different ways. It could be communities of any kind. This is something that the power always oppose, and that is why it usually create isolation and polarization. Is a kind of resistance to power. And the second suggestion is to be aware that people, including me, obviously, we do have a difficulty in changing our opinion, but we have to remember that there is an emotional relationship with information, and therefore this is based on personal beliefs and emotion and experience, past experience. We can only convince ourselves and therefore we can only offer elements of reflection, and again just listen.
Thank you for listening to the EAVI Conversations podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, feel free to explore some other episodes or check out our social media platforms. Stay tuned, there's more to come.